Dear students, welcome back. In the previous session, we have discussed about the mobile segment. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss about the description of typical vertebrae. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about what are the parts of the typical vertebrae. So, here we are having 33 vertebrae in our vertebral column, and most of the vertebrae possesses the same type of features, though these vertebrae present in different regions. A slight modifications are there in different regions, and also some of the atypical vertebrae are also present in different regions that we are going to discuss separately. But the typical vertebrae of all the regions will possess the same types of structural elements. Now we are going to discuss about what are the features of the typical vertebrae. Okay, the structure of the typical vertebrae consists of two major parts. It consists of two major parts: anterior vertebral body and the posterior vertebral arch or neural arch. This is the superior view, and here you can see the lateral view. In this lateral view we can see, so the anterior part is the vertebral body and the posterior part is the neural arch or vertebral arch, and this neural arch is further divided into pedicle and the posterior elements. Okay, so these are the divisions of the typical vertebrae. Now we are going to discuss about each structure in detail. Now first we are going to discuss about the vertebral body. So here this one also superior view. Here you can see this one becomes the anterior and the neural arch is present on the posterior aspect. Okay, so this is the vertebral body. Okay, so here the vertebral body is present on the anterior side of the typical vertebrae, and which is cylindrical in shape, and the vertebral body is composed of a block of trabecular or spongy bone at the center. So here you can see the spongy bone or trabecular bone which are present at the center, and this one is covered by a layer of cortical bone. This cortical bone is the compact bone. So here you can see this compact bone. Okay, so this is the compact bone. So at the center you can find the spongy bone. So this outer covering which covers the spongy bone is the compact bone. Okay, so this cortical covering of the superior and inferior surface, the cortical covering on the superior and inferior surfaces will have it, which are very thickened actually. So these are thickened structures. Okay, only on the superior and inferior aspects of this cortical bone of the vertebral body are thickened, where the epiphyseal plates are present. So where the epiphyseal plates are present, these epiphyseal plates are nothing but the growth plates, isn't it? Yes. So these epiphyseal plates are located on the superior and inferior aspects of the cortical bone of the vertebral body. Okay, if you see at the center, a layer of hyaline cartilage is present. At the center, a layer of hyaline cartilage. At the center, a layer of hyaline cartilage is present. So this hyaline cartilage is called as cartilaginous end plate. So normally this cartilaginous end plate, which is only located on the center of the vertebral body. So this one is also considered as vertebral end plates. But normally this vertebral end plates, nowadays it was discussed under the structure of the intervertebral discs. Why? Because this end plate is loosely attached or slightly attached to the vertebral body, whereas the same hyaline cartilage which is attached firmly on the intervertebral disc. So this part is considered under intervertebral disc rather than the vertebral body. So don't get confused. So here you'll get the same thing in the vertebral body and also in the intervertebral disc. Both are same. Okay. Yes. So this is about the vertebral body. Okay. Now we will move on to the neural arch or the vertebral arch. The neural arch or the vertebral arch is divided into pedicles and the posterior elements. When you compare with the vertebral body and the vertebral arch, the vertebral arch is more complex than the vertebral body because it is having many projections. So the arch is having many projections which includes, so here you can see the projections on the posterior aspect. So this is the posterior view of the vertebrae, which includes 4 articular surfaces and 3 non-articular surfaces. The 4 articular surfaces are superior articular facet 2, 1 and 2, and inferior articular facets. This is 3 and 4. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4 articular processes are present, and 3 non-articular. That one here, this one is right side transverse process, left side transverse process, and posteriorly you'll find the spinous processes. These 3 are non-articular processes. Totally 7 projections or 7 processes are present on the vertebral arch or neural arch. Okay. Yes. Here these pedicles. So now we will see one by one of the parts of the vertebral arch. Yes. Here on the lateral aspect you can see the pedicle. So this one here, this is the green one is the pedicle. So here you can find the pedicles here. Here this one. In the superior view you can see the pedicles here, and on the lateral view you can see the pedicles here. So where these pedicles are attached? The pedicles are the portion of the neural arch that lie anterior to the articular process. So these are the articular processes that lie anterior to the articular processes. So which gives attachment to the vertebral body and the posterior elements. So this pedicle is mainly attached on the posterior wall of the vertebral body only at the upper end, not at the lower end. Pedicles are attached at the upper end of the posterior wall of the vertebral body. Okay, and also it is attached in front of the articular processes. Okay, so this is about the attachment of the pedicle. Okay, yes. Now, and then this one, the pedicles are going to continued as the laminae. Okay, 2 laminae. Before this 2 laminae formation, it gives transverse processes. It gives transverse processes and also the other projections, that is articular processes. Okay, and after that this laminae run posteriorly, and these two laminae united, and finally more posteriorly it forms the spinous processes. Okay, and another important part of this laminae, that is the part which is present, the part of the laminae which is present between the superior articular process and the inferior articular processes. This part is called as pars articularis. The name itself indicates that a part of the lamina which is present in between the superior articular processes and inferior articular processes. This is the pars articularis, and this part will have some clinical importance. Okay, so these are all about the parts of the vertebral arch. Okay, and another important thing, related to this structure of the typical vertebrae or the trabecular system. So this is very, very important in the view of biomechanics. Okay, the trabecular system is formed, or the trabecular system are formed due to the stresses placed on the bodies which are found only in the spongy bone, As we know that the trabecular system are formed only in the spongy bone, that we have discussed in the joint structure and function of the biomechanics. Okay, so how many types of trabeculae are present in the vertebrae are? Some are vertical trabeculae, and some are oblique. So you can find some are oblique, and some are transverse trabeculae are present. All these trabecular system corresponds to the stresses placed on the bodies and which are mainly found within the spongy bone. The vertical systems, here you can see the vertical system help to sustain the body weight and resist the compression forces. Okay, the other trabecular systems, that is oblique and the horizontal one, help to resist shearing forces. Okay, when the trabecular systems are viewed together, so all vertical, oblique and horizontal in this pic, so some area is evident, appears to be weak on the anterior aspect because only vertical trabecular system is present. Okay, and if you observe in the remaining parts of the vertebrae, so there may be a combination of oblique and vertical or oblique and horizontal trabecular systems are present. So when such kind of combination of trabecular system are present, that area becomes strong. Okay, here on the anterior aspect only vertical trabecular system is present. So this area is the weak area of the vertebrae. So this is called as area of weakness. Okay. So the area of weakness is a potential site. This is a potential site for collapse of the vertebrae. Normally this is the place where compression fracture occurs. Okay, so this is all about the description of the typical vertebrae. In the next session, we are going to discuss about the functions of each part of the typical vertebrae. Thank you.